All right, I want to work problem, I'm over a little bit, problem 5.3 out of chapter 5, or F5.3. Just truss. We've got two applied forces and two supports, so I've drawn me a free body diagram here, trying not to put too much detail on it, but I got my 10 kilonewton. I've just drawn this top bar. Got my 10 kilonewton. I've got my response at B. It's a roller, so it's perpendicular to the surface, which will be vertical. Then I've got an AX and AY, which I both draw in the positive direction. I'm using a regular positive X and Y. I'm going to want this distance here. So I drew that triangle. That's 45. And since that's a 45, you draw that across there, that's going to be a 45 because that's 90. And so I put that there for my 5 kilonewton. So what I'm going to want is this distance. So this big triangle, the hypotenuse will be 6. So if I solve for D, I get 6 cosine 45. So that's the distance, D. So let's sum the forces in the X. So with the X part of the 5, which would be adjacent cosine, plus AX, solve that. And I get if AX is pointed in the positive direction, then I get a negative number. So it's really pointed the other way, and tell me in the back of the book, he wasn't really consistent, and he's got that as a plus number. But if you notice his equation, he wrote minus AX. So we're in agreement with there. And then if I sum the forces in the Y, I get a minus 10, a plus B. I get a minus 5 sine 45. And a plus AY. And there's two things you don't know, so you can't solve that. So I went ahead and said, let's get the moments at A. That only leaves me one thing I don't know. And the nice thing about it is if you look here, you've got the perpendicular distance. So I'm just going to have AX times, I'm going to have the 5 kilonewton times 4. Now, again, we call counterclockwise positive. Let's put that on there. Control T. CCW is positive, and therefore the 5 kilonewton pinned around A would push down and around. It's clockwise, so it's negative. All right, and then the 10 can cause a rotation, and the distance is going to be that D plus that 2. Remember, it's the perpendicular distance. Think of your line of action along the line of F and want that distance there. So it's going to be 10 times 2 plus D. And math cat, I got to include my meters. And it also would be clockwise, so it's negative. The B is going to be the counterclockwise around A, and that distance is going to be 4, and 2 is 6 plus D. And then if I solve that for B, I get 8047. B came out positive, so I drew it correctly. And then if I go back to my Y equation and solve it for AY, knowing B, I get what AY is. And that agrees with the answers in the back of the book. So again, the key step is draw your free body diagram and then use it to write your equations. And we did the sum of the X is 0, sum of the Y is 0, sum of the moments are 0. If you have any questions, shoot me an email.